You know, guys, this issue of Stilfontein has really set a bad precedent. And this is something that the South African government is going to regret for a long time. I mean, me personally, I'm not going to be surprised when we hear of illegal miners stuck somewhere, and the government will have to help those people the same way they helped those illegal miners in Stilfontein. Guys, if there's one thing about the illegal miners in Stilfontein, they won the war against the South African government. The South African government was forced to bend the knee to the illegal miners in Stilfontein, and these people won. You remember when this whole thing started, the government initial response through the Minister of Presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, she came out to say that the government is not going to help the criminals. We are going to smoke these people out. And South Africans were so proud to say that, okay, it seems like Ramaphosa's administration actually has the balls. You remember the police going there and saying that, guys, we are doing a blockade. We are not going to allow anybody to give these people anything. We are not going to allow any suppliers inside there. These people are going to come out. And the South African courts, what did the South African courts do? The South African courts said, no, you guys do not have the right to do that blockade. Move away and actually allow the people to go there and give those illegal miners the suppliers. And the same illegal miners, they started making the demands to the government to say that, guys, we need ARVs, we need food, we need washing powders, we need bathing soap. Like, they started making the demands. And first, the initial demands that they made, they were like, okay, it's fine. You guys say you want food. You guys say you want water. Okay, it's fine. But you remember the second letter that came out of that mine? These people saying that they want the luxuries. They wanted the luxuries, basically. And the South African government was actually forced to give these people the luxuries. And on the side, you have these organizations like Makua, these people that are given the airtime by the mainstream media, because the mainstream media, again, on its own, they played a huge part in these people actually forcing the South African government to bend the knee to these people, because the mainstream media couldn't stop giving these people the airtime, despite the fact that these people were talking nonsense on television almost every day. The mainstream media continued to give these people to say that, guys, come here and insult the South African government, come here and insult the taxpayers that are supposed to pay for everything that you people are requesting for. Insult these people. This is the role that was actually played by the mainstream media. But if there's one thing that I can say for sure, is that what happened in Stilfontein, this is not the last. And I think this is the first. That's why I'm saying that I'm anticipating to hear of other miners somewhere stuck, and these people will come out to say that we want the government to help us. And I don't know how the illegal miners in Stilfontein, the organizations with the help of the media, actually made it sound like it is the fault of the government that these people are there in that shaft, because this is the narrative that was actually being driven on television. Every time when you watch the mainstream media, every time when you watch the television, you would actually feel like these people were sent down there in the shaft by the government, because these people were saying that, no, it is the fault of the government that these people, and you guys are not regarding the life. This is what these people were actually saying live on television. It is unbelievable. If you watch those interviews again, you will say like, but who sent those people to go down there? And why are these people making the demands and actually demanding? They are not even requesting some of these things that they wanted. These organizations going to television and they are telling the government that, guys, this is what you must do. And if the government dares to say no, they go to the courts and the court says, yes, give these organizations and give those illegal miners everything that they want. It is insane. It is insane.
We begin here this hour. Police have just given an update on operations in Stilfontein. Scores of bodies have been brought to the surface since the government-sanctioned retrieval operation began on Monday. Dozens of miners have also emerged since then. For an update, let's go back to Stilfontein now, where our reporter Retrieval has the latest. The Operation is continuing, Retrieval, but from what the police have just told you there, the focus is also on finding the kingpins.
Indeed, Vuyo, the focus is also on finding the kingpins. That is what a spokesperson of SAFTU nationally, Atlanta Mate, said, that it's also part of their investigations, but making an announcement that since the retrieval process started on Monday up until today, 78 people have been declared deceased, about 166 those who are alive that have also been brought to the surface. But I'm just going to welcome Atlanta just for the purpose of our viewers, Atlanta, who could not get that briefing a little bit earlier on. The numbers, 78 declared deceased, 166 since the operation started on Monday. Confirm for us.
Well, a very good afternoon. Thank you for that.
And they are going to say that it is the fault of the government that those people died there. Because this is one thing that we must expect. They are going to say that it is the fault of the South African government that those illegal miners, they actually died there. This is what they are going to say. Because for some reason, they've managed to spin around what happened in Stilfontein. They've managed to spin around what happened in Stilfontein. They've managed to make it look like this is a South African government operation that actually went wrong. Because if you are someone who is not living in South Africa, if you are someone who is watching from the outside, you would actually think that, okay, these people were working for the government and they were stuck down there, and the government actually refused to get these people out. This is what you would actually think. And this is why this is the most insane thing. I mean, like, this is one of the most craziest cases that I've ever seen in this country. I swear to God. This is insane. The blueprint that these people in Stilfontein has actually said, it is going to be there forever, and this is what other illegal miners are going to do. And I'm sure other illegal miners in other shafts, they are like, man, we are here suffering. We don't even have the suppliers. When we have the South African government, and the South African government can be forced by the courts to actually give us what we want. So we are going to make the demands. We are going to make the demands. Guys, we can bet. Let's bet. We can bet that there's going to be another Stilfontein. There is going to be another Stilfontein.
On the numbers, 78 declared deceased, 166 since the operation started on Monday. Confirm for us.
Well, a very good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. As confirmed, by 1:30 this afternoon, we are sitting at 166 alive illegal miners that have been retrieved from underground, that have been immediately placed on arrest. Sitting at 78 that have been certified deceased as of Monday. So I did provide a breakdown to say, with the start of the operation on the first day, there were 5 trips that were made with the cage, and we were sitting at 9 bodies and 27 26 that were arrested. On day 2, we were sitting at 17 trips with the cage. We had 106 arrested. We had 51 that were certified as deceased. So as of 1:30 this afternoon, we are sitting at 34 arrested for day 3. And we are then sitting at 18 that have been certified as deceased. So operations are ongoing. No major challenges have been experienced. We continue with the operation.
Talk to us also about the investigations that you as the police are still ongoing with. You touched on issues of kingpins. You also touched on issues of allegations of assault, abuse, considering the number of footages that we have been seeing that are emerging from underground.
Our concern as the police is that when you look at how the health status of these illegal miners, it is quite concerning that they look malnourished, and that does not, and with the so we are looking into allegations that there were kingpins underground that were keeping food away from these illegal miners. We are also investigating allegations of torture and abuse underground, because some of them, when they resurface with marks all over. There have been videos that have surfaced showcasing illegal miners being allegedly tortured by those that are underground. We are also then focusing on allegations that the majority of them were brought here under false job opportunities, and they were not given a clear picture of what would transpire underground. So we are looking for the kingpins, and we believe those are the people that should be held accountable for the deaths of these illegal miners. We are looking for them. We are aware that there were kingpins that were with them underground. So we're just following up that information. Some are already in our custody.
You also talk.
Did you hear what that lady is saying? That these kingpins are the ones that are actually responsible for the death of these illegal miners. This is what the police believes, that these kingpins are the ones that are responsible for the death of those miners. And when this thing is reported by the media, they're saying like, yeah, now we are just looking to finding the kingpins, as if the kingpins were not down there with these people. Of course, these kingpins, they are down there with these people. And these people are not going to say such and such are the ones that are actually running everything. They are not going to say that because they know that these people have power, these people have money, and they can actually be, like a magic. These kingpins, they can actually make you disappear like a magic. So the police believes that, okay, these kingpins are the ones that are actually responsible for the death of these people, which is a take that actually makes sense. But I want you guys to listen to Zwelinzi Mavavi and SAFTU blaming the government for these miners' deaths. I told you guys that this is what is going to be taken. This is the new narrative that is going to be driven. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to make a lot of money by actually saying that the South African government disregarded the right to life. So they needed to pay. South African government, they are going to make a lot of money. You need to understand that. SAFTU, Makua, and other organizations that have been there making noise about what was happening down there, they are about to make a lot of money. Because if there's one thing that this whole thing of Stilfontein has actually showed me, is that the South African courts are actually against the South Africans. The South African courts are working for God knows who these people are working for, but they are not working for South Africa. Because there's no way that these people would actually make those kind of judgments if they were actually working for South Africa. So I want you to listen to this guy, basically blaming the South African government for everything that actually happened in Stilfontein. Please promise me that you are not going to get angry and your high blood is not going to shoot up when you listen to this guy.
So much. And to you, Mr. Vavi, getting straight to it, the Minister of Mineral Resources, Gwede Mantashe, says government should not be blamed for the deaths of the illegal miners at Stilfontein. But as SAFTU, you disagree because you say that government should be held accountable and you will pursue that. Why is that?
Well, we put the blame squarely on the doorsteps of the government for the following reason. One, South African government have allowed that the migration policies of South Africa must not be effective and must not be implemented, making it possible for thousands and thousands of undocumented workers from all over the world to come into the country willy-nilly. It is the consequences of failure to manage the immigration policies and the influx into South Africa by everybody who wish to do so that we have this crisis in our hands. Secondly, government has passed 8 pieces of...
I thought they said these people are people who are unemployed. I thought when these organizations started defending what was happening there, they said, these are just people who are poor South Africans who are looking to feed their families. So how sure are these people that those people, they actually come outside of this country? Because right now, it is not like what they said before. Because if you were to listen to these people, when everything started, if you were to listen, I remember that guy from Amku, if you were to listen to this guy, you would actually think that these people that are down there, these are just South Africans that are looking for ways to feed their families. This is the fault of the mining companies for actually for leaving these shafts open, and and poor South Africans that do not have anything are just taking advantage of this thing that was actually caused by these mining companies. But now SAFTU comes out to say that no, this is the fault of the government for actually allowing the people who come outside of the country to get in and to do as they please. So now it is no longer South Africans who are just looking to feed their families, but now it is the fault of the government because these people allowed these people to jump the borders to get into the country and commit all of these crimes. This is how insane these people are.
Legislation on making itself the primary regulator of the mining industry and the custody of the minerals in South Africa. These range from the right to give permission to every mining company seeking to close its operation in South Africa. And that certificate can only be issued once the government is satisfied that the mining company has sealed the mine, has rehabilitated the mine, has ensured that the environmental issues and destruction around the mine is addressed such that the mine can be livable, or the communities around the mine can use that land for other purposes. Government has dismally failed to ensure that these regulations and laws are enforced by the mining companies. Up to the extent, as we speak, the Auditor General told us 2 years ago that there are about 6,100 mines that have not been properly closed, that are not sealed, where environment has not been addressed, and where it is possible for anybody to come in and out of those mines willy-nilly. And that's why we put the blame on the doorsteps of the government. And lastly, we were in Stilfontein on the 21st of November last year. When we were there, we were not even allowed to come anywhere close to that dark hole because government had just announced a 3-phase operation to rescue those mine workers, or call them zamazamas, you call them anything you wish to. That was on the 21st of November. It has taken up to the 13th of January, the 2 months down the line, for the government to begin this operation. And by the time it starts those operations, it finds so far 78 people dead and 216 or about that seriously malnourished, almost dying from starvation and hunger. And therefore, the point we're making as the Federation SAFTU, who cares about the human rights of everybody, who understand the constitutional requirement in line with Section 11 of the Constitution that puts an obligation on the state first and foremost to protect the right to life of anybody within the borders of South Africa, including during the emergencies. That therefore the government didn't take steps to make sure that the people are not do not die unnecessarily as they have died in Stilfontein. And secondly, the Constitution gives an obligation to the government to protect everybody's right to dignity. You cannot tell me that the government have played its part in terms of protecting the dignity of those workers who now could no longer get out of Shaft 11. And that's the point that we want to address again.
So basically, this is what these people are saying. So the logic that Zwelinzima Vavi is making is that if you have a car and you run out of petrol and you park your car on the side and you walk maybe 1 or 2 kilometers to buy petrol, and someone actually finds your car and they somehow manage to steal your car, it is your fault that you left that car there. It is your fault that you left that car there. Do you see how these people are quickly to say that it is the fault of the government that those people died because of the starvation? They are not even taking the report of the police to say that some amongst these people are the kingpins, and these kingpins are the ones that actually starved these people because they kept the food by themselves. These people are working for the kingpins, and when the food gets down, the kingpins are the ones that can actually distribute the food. So they are the ones that are actually responsible for these people dying. But no, according to SAFTU, this is the fault of the government. It is the fault of the government. So this is what they are going to sue the government for. So if there's another Stilfontein, can you just imagine the kind of money that these people are going to make? Let's say there are about 5 operations that are going to happen similar with the Stilfontein. What is the South African government going to do? Because right now, when you listen to these people and when you look at how the courts are actually reacting to everything that is happening, you can see that the South African government is being forced to bend the knee to these people, to these radicals, and there's nothing that they can do because the courts will say that no, bend that knee. So they are going to make that money. I know some of you are sitting there and be like, no man, like this whole thing doesn't make any sense. Because to start with, these people are illegal. What they are doing there is illegality. But for some reason, the South African government is going to be forced to pay. Just like right now, the taxpayers are the ones that are actually paying for retrieving whatever that is happening underneath there. And that operation, it cost millions. The South African government has been forced to spend millions to rescue the people that are actually committing crimes. This is where we are as a country. They've seen a loophole. They are going to expose that loophole, and there is nothing that South African government can do. There's nothing that the South African government can do because we don't have a president that can say, no, South African government is not going to do that. I don't care if you guys think that I'm against the constitution. I don't care. I'm a president of this country, and we are not going to pay for all of those things. We don't have a president who actually has the balls to stand up against everything that is happening. The police, they wanted to be tough. You see that lady that was actually having a conversation with Newsroom. She was one of the people that was actually tough on this issue when it started. These are people that were right when this issue started. But now, no. Listen to her tone. It's much softer. It's much softer. So people like Zwelinzima Vavi, they've actually seen that, okay, this is a loophole. We are about to make millions. We are about to make millions by actually using the South African constitution against the South African government. We are going to make millions by using their own constitution against them. This is what we are going to do. Just like what is happening with the hijacked buildings. That's why the government cannot get rid of those people that are hijacking the buildings in the middle of the cities. Just look at KZN. Just look at Johannesburg. Just look at what the illegal immigrants are doing in the middle of the cities. These people are literally hijacking the buildings in the middle of the cities. And they come back with the NGOs and they use the South African constitution against the government. And now the government cannot get rid of these people that are literally committing crimes in the middle of the city. This is where we are. This is where we are. Like, this is so infuriating. This is so infuriating. If we had people who actually have balls in government, we wouldn't be dealing with half of these things that we are dealing with. We wouldn't be dealing with all of these things. We wouldn't. But unfortunately, this is where we are under the ANC government. Guys, please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.